Let's get stuck into our Wednesday panel now. Sky News host Liz Storer joins us and columnist Justin Smith. I just want to start, pass to you, Liz. I mean, you've got every Labor MP in Canberra. They flew up there probably with a staff member earlier today. Someone's put the cost at somewhere between $500,000 to $1 million. They talk about cost of living. They change the tax cuts. And then they all go off to the lodge for drinks. Now, is that a good look, really?
The comedy writes itself these days, Steve. This is utterly hilarious. I mean, unless you're paying for it, of course, but we've got to find a silver lining here. I mean, these guys are literally, what, celebrating breaking promises that they took to the election at this point? What are these drinks for? And that $500,000 to fly everyone back, to have this big powwow, to put the nails in the coffin of this decision to backflip on the stage 3 tax cuts. That was seriously such a bad call for this government. Absolutely no one standing by it except for what seems to be the big cheeses in the Labor Party who are pushing this. The rest of Australia just can't believe we've got yet another broken promise by this government, and here they are celebrating it. If you factor in the staff that those members probably flew with, $500,000 is a very conservative estimate of how much this would have actually cost.
Yeah, it seems like a really strange message. Justin, I mean, a different way to look at this, though, is, yes, a broken promise will hurt Anthony Albanese, no doubt about that. Oh, yeah. But the electorate might, in fact, embrace the idea that the more wealthy Australians are not going to get this tax cut.
Oh, look, you're going to get a few people like that. But I don't think we're going to have much of a blue on this, because I think he's buggered this up right royally, because these people that you're talking about, they're not all just big end of town. I mean, we can throw around big end of town, but that just becomes a nonsense. A lot of these people are hardworking. They didn't get a great deal during COVID. They didn't get a lot of money to help them along the way. And they're not rich, they're not making a fortune. And here's the big one, go back to the broken promise. They were told again and again and again in a very convincing fashion that they were going to get a tax cut. And then by the look of it, still hasn't happened yet, but by the look of it, it gets pulled out. Now, we should, look, if that was on the cards, he should have said so from the start. He should have said, look, we're going to visit it in early 2024 and see what happens.
I think that'll come back to haunt him. We can't avoid talking about Australia Day now. The Woolies boss, Brad Banducci, who I think's South African, he was on Breakfast TV this morning, Liz, the decision to scrap Australia Day merchandise. Have a listen to what he had to say.
What I do feel I feel the weight on myself is the impact that this is having on our team. They are proud, hardworking Australians, and for them to be seen as anti-Australian or woke is fundamentally unfair.
Oh, Liz, he's got all the weight on his shoulders. He went on to say, well, Woolworths provide all of this fresh food for Australians to eat. Does the bloke not realise he's also in the middle of a discussion nationally about how supermarkets are ripping everyone off?
I've said it 1,000 times, Steve. This comes back to Woolworths' main shareholders, which are BlackRock and Vanguard. These guys are the almighty, all-powerful. They're the biggest asset managers in the world, the biggest money managers in the world, and they have proven time and time again that this anti-West agenda, which boils down to anti-Australian here on the ground in our nation, they are behind it. They're absolute World Economic Forum darlings. And to be honest, Coles isn't much better, because even though they are stocking Australian merchandise, one of their biggest stockholders is Wesfarmers. The same Wesfarmers that devoted $2 million to the Yes campaign. We saw throughout last year, Woolworths was also on board, having vote yes kind of messaging coming over their speakers while you're just trying to do your grocery shopping in a supermarket. We need to stop and ask ourselves, how bizarre is it that a supermarket chain was ever campaigning for constitutional change? This is is a very real agenda. It's being pushed by their biggest stakeholders at the very top of the food chain worldwide, BlackRock and Vanguard. If Aussies really want to show these guys who's boss, start shopping at farmers markets, start putting your money where you know where it's going, you know who you're supporting, and you're giving it to the people who actually deserve it.
Yeah, well said. Well said, Liz. Justin, Scott Morrison's retired. He's out of Parliament. How do you think history will look at Scott Morrison?
I hope history tells the truth about Scott Morrison. We were just talking about one untrustworthy politician in Anthony Albanese. I think, gee, we know how to pick him, don't we? By gee, we know how to pick him. And we had Scott Morrison for all those years. I think it'll judge him very badly. Things like robo-debt.
I don't hold a hose,
He didn't
mate.
trust... I
don't hold a hose, mate.
that garbage around why Brian Houston in the the White House. I mean, the list just goes on. And the biggest one is lying to his own party and swearing himself in as Pope at Government House. I mean, the guy's just a dead set shonk and good riddance.
Liz and Justin, thank you very much. That's all we've got time for.